Remember the moment when you survived by a miracle. A car swerved into your lane. You jerked the wheel at the last second, inches from death. Where you fell from a height, should have broken your neck, but you got up and walked away. Or you got sick. Doctors couldn't understand how you survived. 1% chance, but you survived. Everyone's had that moment. A second between life and death. You call it luck, fate, a miracle. No, it's not a miracle. You didn't survive. You died. Right there, in that crash, in that fall, from that illness, you died. But your consciousness didn't disappear. It jumped into a parallel reality where you survived. Quantum immortality, that's what it's called. Today you'll learn how many times you've already died, in how many realities you no longer exist, and why this is the most terrifying curse you can imagine. 1957, Hugh Everett, American physicist, 27 years old, defending his dissertation at Princeton. Many worlds' interpretation of quantum mechanics, that's what it's called. His advisor is shocked. Colleagues laugh. The idea is too insane, but the math works. The essence is simple. Every quantum event creates a branching of reality. Reality splits constantly, every second, billions of times. Imagine a coin. You flip it, heads or tails. Before it lands, it's in superposition, simultaneously heads and tails. Quantum mechanics proves this. But when you look, you see only one result, heads. Where did tails go? Copenhagen interpretation says collapsed, disappeared, ceased to exist. Everett says no. Tails also exists in a parallel reality. Reality split. In one, the coin landed heads, in another, tails. Both realities are real. Both continue to exist.
Just in different branches. Schrödinger's cat. Famous thought experiment. Cat in a box. Radioactive atom. If it decays, poison is released. Cat dies. If not, cat lives. Before opening the box, the cat is in superposition, alive and dead simultaneously. You open the box, you see a live cat. Copenhagen interpretation, dead cat disappeared. Everett, dead cat in parallel reality. You open the box, reality splits. In one, you see a live cat, in another, a dead one. Both versions of you exist in parallel worlds. Now apply this to life. Every decision you make, left or right, reality splits. In one, you went left. In another, right. Call or not call, split. In one, you called. In another, you didn't. Infinite versions of you living in parallel, making different choices, all real, all existing, right now. Every quantum event creates branching, coin, cat, your decisions. And now the most important thing, death. Death is also a quantum event. A bullet flies toward your head. Will it hit or miss? Quantum uncertainty. Billions of factors, angle, speed, wind, tremor in the shooter's hand. Everything obeys quantum laws. In one reality, all factors aligned. Bullet hit, you're dead. In another reality, one factor changed. Quantum fluctuation. Bullet missed, you are alive. Both realities exist. But here's the key question. In which one does your consciousness exist? Max Tegmark, physicist, Massachusetts Institute of Technology. He developed Everett's idea, added something terrifying. Quantum immortality. That's what he called it. Here's the logic. Your consciousness cannot experience its own death.
Because after death, there is no consciousness, no observer, no experience of non-being. You cannot remember the moment when you didn't exist. Impossible. Therefore, your consciousness always ends up in the reality where you survived, automatically. Bullet flies. In one reality, it hits. You're dead there. But your consciousness isn't in that reality, because dead consciousness doesn't exist. Your consciousness is in the reality where the bullet missed, always, without exception. Reddit, subreddit Glitch in the Matrix. 2 million subscribers, thousands of stories. People describe moments when they should have died, but didn't. Story 1. Guy behind the wheel, highway at night. Semi-truck swerves into his lane, straight at him. Head-on collision inevitable. Distance 15 feet, speed 75 miles per hour. He closes his eyes, braces, waits for impact. Silence. Opens his eyes. Semi is behind him, far behind, like it drove through his car. Passenger saw the same thing. Both remember the semi 3 feet from the windshield, then it's behind them. Quantum jump? He died in one reality, jumped to another, where the semi swerved an inch, where he survived. Story 2. Woman on a balcony, 5th floor, hanging laundry, leans over the railing, loses balance, falls. She remembers falling, wind in her face, pavement rushing up, remembers the impact, pain, then blank. Next memory, she's standing on the balcony, gripping the railing, whole, unharmed, laundry in her hands. She goes downstairs, looks at the pavement below the balcony. No traces, nobody saw anything. Neighbors say nobody fell, but she remembers every second of the fall, every detail of the impact. Quantum jump. She died below. Consciousness returned to the balcony, to the reality where she didn't fall. Story 3. Man in the hospital. Severe pneumonia. Lungs failing. Doctors give him 1%. Family says goodbye. He falls asleep, not expecting to wake up. Wakes up, breathing on his own. Doctors in shock. Unexplainable recovery. They say, miracle. He says, I was in other places. I remember darkness. I remember stopping breathing. Then, here again. Quantum explanation. In 99 realities he died. His consciousness isn't there. It's in that one, where he survived. From his point of view, he was always in the survival reality. Deja vu. You walk into a place, and you know what's going to happen next. You remember this conversation, but it's happening for the first time. You remember this street, but you've never been here. Quantum explanation. You remember a parallel life where you were already here, but you died there, jumped here, brought memories, fragments of memory from another reality. Sounds like a gift. Immortality. You always survive. Bullet misses, disease retreats, crash passes you by. You're invincible, from your point of view. But wait, there's a problem. Huge problem. Everyone else isn't immortal. Your parents, your friends, your kids, they die. In your reality, you jump to the reality where you survived, not where they survived, where you did. They can die in this reality, and you remain alone. Imagine, you're 90 years old. All your loved ones are dead. Childhood friends dead. Spouse dead. Children dead.
But you're still here. Body falling apart. Bones brittle. Organs failing. Everyday pain. But consciousness keeps jumping to the reality where the heart beat one more second. One more. Another. 100 years. 120. 150. You're the only person on the planet your age. All generations before you dead. Generations after too. But you're still here because you can't experience death. Quantum immortality doesn't guarantee quality of life, only existence. You could be trapped in a paralyzed body. Can't move, can't speak, but consciousness alive. Jumps to reality where the brain works. One more minute, one more hour, infinitely. You could be in a coma. Decades. Doctors disconnect life support. But in some quantum fluctuation, you continue to exist, trapped inside a dead body, forever. This isn't a gift. This is the most terrifying curse you can imagine.
How many times have you already died? 10, 100, 1,000. In how many realities do you no longer exist? In how many are your loved ones mourning you, burying your empty body, trying to move on? And you're here, in the only reality, where you survived. This version of you, the only one, for now. The next jump could happen now, right now, while you're watching this. Maybe your heart stopped a second ago, in a parallel reality, and here it kept beating. You didn't even notice the jump. They're seamless, instantaneous, invisible. You think this is your first life? Maybe you've already lived 1,000, in 1,000 different realities, died 1,000 times, each time jumping further, 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 to this moment, to this second. Welcome to the only reality where you still exist, the only one out of infinity, where your consciousness is trapped, until the next jump, which could happen right now.